is a first cousin of King Arthur, Arthur II, son of Myric. The dikes exist. There are masses of them. They run from the river. They used to run from the Taff in Cardiff to the Rummy River in Cardiff, from the Rummy River in Cardiff to the Ebble in Newport, from the other side of the Usk and the Ebble in Newport, eastwards again up to Chepstow. And the majority of them are still there. They're still in position. Reason for the dikes is that all the land behind them is well below sea level. So it was a huge land reclamation exercise, and masses of canals, like a checkerboard or chessboard system, cross and crisscross this landscape, draining it. This remarkable construction is post-Roman and pre-Norman. The interesting thing is that the life of Genovesius says Genovesius is working on the dikes in the land of Arthur. And Illtyd is the instructor or engineer in charge. So the land of Arthur is South East Wales.
If King Arthur was a Glamorgan king, where was his Camelot? Though today there may not be much to see, there was once a castle standing on this site. A wedding was recorded as taking place here as late as 1453. It was called the Yellow Fortress, or Caermelin. Could this be Camelot?
It may have got its name from the nearby sulphur springs of Yellow Wells Farm. There's a number of houses in the area, the grey house, the brown house, the blue house, the ancient manor houses. Yellow Wells Farm is just below. This place is Caer, a castle. Melin is yellow. So Caer, Melin can easily be seen, perhaps translated into sort of Norman French as Caermelot or Camelot. In this direction, you can see that's the south wall going along there. When we go over there, you'll see what a big drop it is. That's the south wall, down to the corner of the field. And you've got clearly, when we get down there, you film it better, an eastern wall and a north wall there. And so you've got a large enclosed area. This was the area of this castle. And like I told you, it was a castle in 1453, and the main area. It was the main place of the entire area. Cardiff was in the parliamentary hundred of Keebor, not the other way around. This was the central, most important place in this entire district, this where you're standing now. And this was the place of the castle of the Glamorgan kings. It's quite possible. The whole point is it's also known as Keebor. And Keebor, C-U, means mutually together, and Bwrdd means table. So Keebor means mutually together table. That's evocative in the Arthurian sense. And so until very recent times, this ancient field and castle was the most important place in this entire area. There's no doubt about that. And there's no doubt it was the ancient residence of the Glamorgan kings.
In Cardiff.
It's got two names. It's called Keebwrdd. Key is mutually together, and Bwrdd is table. How about it?
Round table.
Just below it is still Yellow Wells Farm. It was the Yellow Fort, Caermelot.
Camelot.
Caermelot.
So is this Arthur II who had Camelot?
Yes.
Not Arthur I?
I know.
So Arthur II had Camelot, had the round table.
Well, Keebwrdd, Keebor. It was, even in Norman times, it was not you couldn't, it was the royal cantref, you couldn't tax it. It was not taxable.
This part of Cardiff?
That area.
Well, what we call the centre forts. In other words, the major fortresses were surrounded by a ring of little teeny outer fortresses as signalling places to signal inwards. And you get one over there is Pentra Myric, head manor of King Myric, Arthur's daddy. That's a centre fort. And then you got one that way, Caerleon, right? The castle of Leon the Mighty, Caerleon. They've confused Isca, the Roman fortress, with a Welsh fortress half a mile to the north of it called Caerleon. And they think the Roman fort is at Caerleon. It's not. Caerleon is actually a big Welsh fortress on a hill. So Arthur is always associated with Caerleon in all the legends and romances. They're the biggest hill forts in Britain. And mostly you won't be able to see a thing, because you don't do anything with it. And they don't do anything to preserve it, protect it, anything. But this is Arthur's hill fort. This is Caerleon, Castle of Leon. And from here, looking down that side, you can see Malpas. Arthur's said to be looking down from his castle, watching people across his Malpas. Well, you can. But you couldn't see people from that Roman place, which they mistake as Caerleon. And this actually is the British fortress on a hill, where he would have been. And it's totally neglected, as you see. There's no damn thing you can see. Most of the year you can't see anything, can't do anything. So, of course it's sad, because this is the place where the tourists would come.
Now, the Palace of the Kings is just outside Lampeter Major.
Ah, right.
It covers about 4 or 5 acres. The walls stick up from under the ground. They started excavating about 1903. They were excavating 1903, and men in suits arrived. That means people from London, and stopped the excavation. One of the rooms is 50 feet long and so wide. They tried to say it was destroyed in 293 when Caron or Carausius was killed, but it's no radio jab indeed in its own end of the Arthurian kingdom. Now you can see it there.
There's the palace in the middle. This is this ancient palace of the kings of...
Bits of marble all over the place. I got a piece the size of one of those books, marble, I brought from there. So where they brought marble from, I don't know. Apparently, the bit they excavated, there are mosaics on the floors and murals on the walls.
Wow.
So,
and it's not Roman?
No, it's the British king. Yeah, so we've got a buried city under Caercaradoc, the hill with St. Peter's Church, where Arthur II, and nobody's doing anything about it. Anywhere else on planet Earth, they'd be digging it up. And a buried palace of the king.
Okay.
From my own perspective, there are some very simple observations I would like to make to conclude this programme. Wilson and Blackett started in 1976 trying to find the truth about King Arthur. After 14 years of intensive research, they purchased a church which this research was suggesting was the likely burial site of the legendary king. They excavated that site in 1990, and an artefact was unearthed by a digger. This occurred when Wilson and Blackett were not at the site. The object is a solid electrum cross, which could have only been made for an important or wealthy person. It has been dated to the period of Arthur, which is prior to 600 AD, and has an inscription which reads, "For the soul of Arthur." What are the chances of finding that artefact by coincidence at the very site they claimed could be the King Arthur burial site? The academic establishment will not look at these findings, which suggests there is something seriously wrong with these academics, who get paid with our tax money to run universities and sit in academic departments. Wilson and Blackett have always been and are still willing to work with the academic establishment in an effort to help find further truths within our history. If there are any academics watching, please contact them. They are ready and willing to speak to you.
A buried city in Britain? If they found one in Egypt, they'd be going bananas. Wouldn't they?
It does
It
beg a
beggars the
belief, doesn't it?
imagination.